clinical medicine to doing this, you kind of have to make sure you've got enough saved up and that you can weather out some of the lean years where, you can do marketing and have all these expenses that maybe you didn't have before. So one of the key things I think if anyone's considering a career transition is to make sure your personal financial situation is in order before you make that jump, because you could get burned if something fails. So that's kind of my take on it, is that one of the key things you got to have in place is your own personal financial situation being squared away before you can say, okay, I'm going to start this business or do this or that or the other, or go part-time or whatever it is that you want to do.
How long does it take for a physician who comes in and, is in that state to get his financial house in order?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the way I kind of look at wealth management is it's not a one-time event. It's more of an ongoing or dynamic process that is ongoing over the lifetime of that client. So it's not just a matter of, okay, here's where I am now. We've got everything organized, reinvested. You've got the appropriate insurance in place. You've got all this stuff. And then, okay, goodbye. We'll see you in 5 years. Because there's always something that's happening. And examples of that would be, and these are real examples for clients that I have, is, for example, one person buys a new house. Well, now you got to look at, all the asset protection stuff on homeowners insurance and umbrella policies all over again. Another client, their group 401k plan switched from one custodian all the way to another custodian. Now their investment options completely changed, so you have to redesign the entire portfolio. Having a newborn, that's going to create issues of, okay, do I need now more life insurance? How do I fund this person's college if that's one of their goals? So there's always something going on that requires monitoring of this. But to kind of answer your question, what I found is that especially in the first year of the engagement is huge, because you're establishing trust with the advisor, and the advisor is establishing trust with the client, and getting in all this stuff that's generally disorganized usually takes about a year and a half to kind of really go through and get everything squared away. And it really kind of depends on the situation. I've had people who, for example, one client I've had who had, like 8 different checking accounts. I'm not really sure why. And then had all these other scattered investments that weren't really sort of integrated with each other. And then I've had other clients who, had all these variety of insurance policies, life insurance policies from way back when that they'd never looked at in years. And the questions were, do you really need these? But roughly, really the first year is really something that, it takes about a year and a half to really kind of organize everything and simplify it. And then it's more of an ongoing relationship where you manage the investment portfolio, and of course you monitor the goals of the client and making sure we're headed in the right direction.
When you moved over and started this business, what were the first steps that you kind of took? I mean, you basically became, set out a shingle. How did you start marketing? How did you kind of grow your business? What was your plan?
Yeah, what happened is, so when I went into this, I started taking the Certified Financial Planner courses. That was, I believe, back in 2006. And then I didn't feel comfortable going out on my own after I passed the CFP courses and the CFP exam. So what I did is I worked for a wealth management firm here in Atlanta before I went out on my own. One, to give me confidence, but the other issue was, I wanted to kind of see the inside business workings of actual fee-only financial planners and see kind of, what are the marketing challenges, how do they get clients, how do they conduct meetings, all those sorts of issues. And it gave me an idea of the way I wanted to do it. I actually started this firm in January of this year, so this is still a refined, this process is still being refined as we speak. But basically, the first several clients that came on board were people actually that had been reading my columns that I write in one of the ER magazines for the past 3 years. And when a couple of them contacted me, said, hey, I've been reading your columns and now I noticed that you started this financial planning business, and they came on board as clients. There are others that heard from other people that I was doing this that came on board as well. It's always, marketing is kind of probably the biggest challenge for me is, how do I get the word out? Because there's not really that many physicians who are financial planners. So the key for me is, marketing towards, how do I get the word out that, I'm one of you and this is kind of a unique thing.
Do you find that physicians kind of respond well to that, the fact that you're an MD as well?
Yeah, I think there's an instant connection, especially with emergency medicine physicians, of course, since I am one of them, but even for other physicians in general. But one of the things I've noticed is, physicians are just so busy with their career and other things going on that they kind of don't have their, personal financial planning on the radar screen a lot of times. The excuse is always, okay, I'm going to do this later. Because, let's face it, who wants to really look at their will?
It is a little like tax season.
Yeah, exactly. It's like taxes, or, who wants to look at their will? It's not fun. Who wants to look at an insurance policy? That's just not exciting. To me, it's exciting because I enjoy that stuff. But for most people, it's like, I'm just going to deal with that later. And I think on a superficial or on the surface, people know that it's important. It's kind of like diet and exercise. You could tell somebody all day, well, the key to losing weight is to, take in less calories and exercise more. But how many people actually do that? It's kind of the same thing here. It's like, well, gosh, I know getting a will is important, and I know getting the portfolio together is important, but gosh, that's just not something I want to do. And
so let me ask you, as a career, are you able to make more money as a physician, or if you're successful as a financial advisor, is that a more lucrative career?
Yes, that's an interesting question. One, it depends on the number of clients, of course, and the fees that I charge per client. But here's kind of the way I look at it. This is just my take on the whole thing is I don't look at income. My take on income is very different than what it used to be. It used to be that I was just looking at, okay, here's the dollar amount I'm making per month, and that was it. Now I see income more of, okay, here's the dollar amount I'm making divided by the frustration factor. And so to me, high income to me basically means the highest amount of income per frustration factor. And I can tell you that what I'm doing now is so much more fun than doing an ER shift with all the challenges of working in an ER, that yes, my absolute income will even when I get up to the number of clients I want, will probably be less than if I was just working full-time in the ER. But from my perspective, when you take into consideration all the frustrations, there's far less frustrations doing this. It's a lot more fun. I actually think I make more, if you know what I mean, when you do it relative to lifestyle.
As a final thing, is there anything that you kind of want to mention that in the discussion that we've had, is there anything else that's kind of come up that you might want to, throw out as a nugget of wisdom?
The way I kind of look at, especially since the conference, everything, and what you're doing at Medical Spa MD, I think the one thing I'd have to say is, if there are physicians who are simply trying to that don't like what they do right now, for whatever reason, whether it's income going down or they're frustrated with paperwork or admin stuff or malpractice or whatever, what I would suggest is that don't do something else just to get out of the other thing that you were doing. Do something else because you have a true passion for it. If you don't have a true passion for this other career, whatever career it may be, then you're ultimately going to not like that either. And the thing I found is that if you have a true passion for doing something, then it becomes much, much easier to motivate yourself to do it. And that way you're not miserable in the second thing you did. You're actually enjoying it and living the life that you want to live. It's kind of the biggest thing that I'd probably have to say for anyone who's considering transitioning from a full-time clinical career to maybe part-time clinical and full-time something else, or full-time something else.
Well, that's it for the show. Thank you very, very much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed it. Of course, we would like to have feedback, so if you've got any questions or comments, the email address is podcast@medicalspamd.com, or leave a comment in the Physicians Forum at the website. If you're a subscriber, that's terrific. If you haven't subscribed yet, and you want the shows automatically delivered to you when a new episode comes out, you can find Medical Spa MD on iTunes just by searching for Medical Spa MD, or visit the website medicalspamd.com and click on podcasts, and there's ways to subscribe there as well. Now, as always, please consider everything we say to be complete conjecture and random speculation, not medical or legal advice, and laws and regulations vary everywhere, so do consult a medical or legal professional before taking any action. So that's it. It's goodbye from me, Andy White.
And goodbye from me, Jeff Parson.
Wishing you the best until we see you next time on Medical Spa MD.